Hey, what's going on, family? I'm back with part three. This is going to be the narcissist and the games that they play after the discard. So I did part one and part two. I didn't realize that these videos was going to be that long, but I obviously had a lot to say on this topic, and I think it's kind of important because it kind of gives ongoing examples of what we have to deal with. Like for those of us that could not go completely no contact, and I think it's a good example for us to show you guys that can go no contact why you should go no contact. So it's like I am giving like personal examples from my situation after my discard, just to tell you guys and give you guys some examples of like the stuff that you're literally not missing. Like you're not missing nothing at all when it comes down to the discard, and you thinking, you probably ruminating and wishing that things would go back to the way that they were in the very beginning of the situation and all of that kind of stuff. But I can promise you and I can tell you that it never goes back to the same. I had a friend of mine tell me one time, and he was like, we were talking about relationships, and I had broke up with somebody, and he said something kind of really profound, you know what I'm saying? He was like, listen, after everything that was said and after everything that was done, no matter what, do you think that if y'all were to get back together that it would ever be the same? And then when I sat back and really thought about it, I was like, it's never gonna be the same. You know what I'm saying? So once somebody crosses you like the narcissist does, and once somebody crosses you and play, they play with you like you a sucker or something, or they they play with you like you disposable in their life, then it ain't really no going back from that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, this video right here is to just continue on in my story. I wanted to keep dropping the game for y'all and give y'all all the examples of everything that I have dealt with. I'm kind of like all over the place when it comes down to the video because it was so many disrespectful things that happened. It's kind of hard to keep the timeline of like when this particular thing happened or when this particular thing happened, because it was so much disrespect, like back to back to back to back. And it all started as soon as she got pregnant in the situation. So like I said, I was in part one and part two, I was telling you guys that I was in a on again, off again relationship with the narcissist, and she got pregnant. As soon as she got pregnant, she discarded me. She ran off to her new supply while she wasn't showing. And while she wasn't showing, she was able to love bomb her new supply. But then there was this intermittent, like trying to keep me on the hook. So she was like sending me text messages throughout the time that she was love bombing him, and it was like she was just trying to keep me emotionally invested into the situation, whether it was good or bad. That's why they say that they'll take whatever type of supply you're gonna give them. So if I was gonna show her love, she would have accepted that. And if I was gonna show her hate, then she would have accepted that. As long as she was getting some type of attention from me, then she was fine. Now, like I said, what ended up happening was I knew enough at that moment, not knowing that I was dealing with narcissism, but I knew enough at that moment to realize I shouldn't chase her. Like it was no particular reason that a grown adult would be acting like that. So I just knew like, nah, we're not gonna play the chase game. You know what I'm saying? So because I did not play the chase game, and this is like one of the biggest points that I want to get across to y'all, is that when somebody start playing these little games with you and you don't play along with the game, but they don't want to lose you, they playing the game to gain position, like a position of control or a position of authority in your life, to where you're chasing them now, and you like they say, the person who cares the most loses in a relationship. So they want you to be the one that cares the most. They want you to be the one that's doing all of the chasing and all of that kind of stuff. They may not actually want to discard you and lose you forever. They are literally just trying to gain the upper hand in the situation It's all a defense mechanism. They're trying to gain the upper hand in the situation, and then all while devaluing you, and now they're off to this new person, and now they're going to try to do the same cycle of abuse all over again on them. That's why it never gets better. That's why it's like when they go on to the new supply, it literally is the same cycle over and over and over again. So it's not like, I know a lot of y'all, it looks like they're going off and they're like running off into the sunset and they doing something big with their life because that's the presentation that they're giving y'all. But, you know, and I had to realize that, like, once I started just sitting back and just paying attention to how she was moving, I saw that she was trying to trigger me. Her life wasn't really as glamorous or as good as she was trying to make it seem as it was, and the new supply wasn't all like caked up to, you know what I'm saying, be what she was trying to make him to be in the situation. You know what I'm saying? It was literally just a power play. It was like it was literally a power play. Like when you're the target and they're trying to keep a position of power over you, they're going to treat you like shit, because treating you like shit gives them, you know, it keeps you yearning, especially if you care about this person and you want the relationship to work out. It keeps you yearning for their validation. It keeps you yearning for their love and attention. Like, it keeps you yearning for the love bomb back. Like, that's the whole play. That's the whole setup. And all they did was moved on to the next person, and now they're back at the beginning of the cycle with them, and now they're love bombing them. And what I can say even about that part is, obviously that didn't last very long, because literally once my son was born, then she started trying to push me back into the number 2 position. So it was like she was love bombing her new dude, and like, what I believe is the new dude was actually the old dude. This was somebody that had already been in the mix. And how I kind of know is, one particular day she mentioned it to me. Like, the narcissists, they'll tell on themselves. They will drop little hints and clues and stuff like that. So you know, when you paying attention and your intuition is running high and you kind of figuring out like the pieces of what's going on, it's like, okay, one day she, out of the blue, came to me and was like, hey, guess what? And I was like, what? And she's like, the dude that I used to talk to popped up at my mother's house today. And so at the very beginning, you know what I'm saying? As soon as she said it, I'm like, you are a 40-year-old woman. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking about just boundaries, as far as like, your mother is a grown woman, you're a grown woman. How could anybody just pop up at your house uninvited? Like, it was, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, they felt comfortable enough to be coming. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he felt comfortable. Her and I were dating at that time, and that's not even a move that I would have pulled. You see what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't even pop up over their house like that. So I'm just thinking to myself, like, if I don't even feel comfortable enough to just pop up over there like that, then what's really going on? Because, you know what I'm saying, I have never felt comfortable enough to just pull up and pop up at your mother's house about nothing. So the fact that you telling me that this dude just popped up out of nowhere, that was like red flag. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was a big red flag. I'm just looking at the situation and I'm like, you lying. You know what I'm saying? It's either you're lying or you're not telling me the full entire story. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to piece it together that she leaving stuff out. She's omitting bits and pieces of the story to fit whatever narrative she's trying to paint right now. So basically, she was trying to make it seem like this dude was just on a, you know, he was on a campaign to like try to get her back. So it was triangulation. She was, he may actually have popped up at the house, because shortly after that, that's when I started noticing all of these little small phone calls that she would get, and she would sometimes take them, or sometimes she would click it off and act like, it wasn't nobody, that was just somebody in my family, I'll call them back. And I'm just like watching how she moving, and I'm like, yeah, all right, she lying, you know what I'm saying? But at the time, I'm not too concerned about it or worried about it, because I'm not realizing that I'm being set up for the baby trap. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking that we're just, we're friends. We've been kicking it for a while, and we're kind of seeing where things is going. And if it don't really blossom into anything, then okay, that's cool with me. Like I wasn't in a position where I had to be with her or anything like that. Like I before she came in my life, I was single, and I was fine with that. I wasn't chasing a relationship. I was more so career driven and chasing my dreams and goals. Like I am, I've always been extremely hardworking and dedicated to chasing what God has for me. You know what I'm saying? God's plan in my life. I want to fulfill my assignment. You know what I'm saying? Like, so from a young child, I've always felt like there was something special that God placed on my heart for me to do with my time on this earth. And I think that's one of the things that all chosen ones share. Like I'm pretty sure anybody that is on YouTube and they're genuinely talking about being a chosen one, and they're coming from a genuine place. I think that's something that we all kind of share, is that from a child, from a very young childhood, we seek God first, even when we didn't realize that's what we were doing. We had already made our choice of what side of the spiritual warfare that we was going to be on. We chose God even in our childhood, probably before we even knew what was really what. You know what I'm saying? We just chose good. We chose to live on the side of good as opposed to evil. So that's just, a little snippet on, like, I know you guys hear a lot about being chosen and all of that kind of stuff, but that's just something that I noticed in my life. I've always been walking, or trying to walk towards what I felt like God's assignment was in my life. You know what I'm saying? So even when I started this YouTube channel, this is something that I would never do if I hadn't gone through narcissistic abuse, and if I had not saw it was so many people that needed help. It was so many people that was just like me, that didn't have a voice out there that's speaking to them, that's saying, hey, listen, it's other people that have gone through this. You're not the only one. Like, it took me almost a year to even figure out what was going on. And then once I figured out what was going on, and I tried to talk to the people that was around me, like the people that were just in my family, in my circle, they did not understand. Like, some of them did. Not everybody was just green to the situation, but this is actually like a spiritual awakening, and some people still sleep. You know what I'm saying? And that, unfortunately, it's some people in our lives that are still sleep, and they're not gonna wake up until it either happens to them, or maybe some of them won't ever wake up. You know what I'm saying? Some of them will die asleep. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just basically following assignment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always wanted to help people and all of that kind of stuff, and I didn't see YouTube as being an outlet for me to do that. But once I went through everything that I went through, and I kept hearing this voice saying, okay, start your YouTube channel. Start your YouTube channel. And it's like, even when you hear, even when you start thinking about your assignment from God, and even the Bible says that my sheep will hear my voice. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna know God's voice when he's speaking to you. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what happened when I started this YouTube channel. It wasn't something like that was I mean, I've always been interested in starting a YouTube channel, but I never knew what I was going to talk about. I never knew, you know, if I had the confidence to actually get up here and do this. And actually, how am I doing, y'all? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, one of my secondary goals with this channel was just being more comfortable talking in front of the camera and all of that kind of stuff. So I know a lot of you guys remember from the very beginning, I was like completely horrible in front of the camera because, and I'm still, I still don't feel completely comfortable in front of the camera at all. You know what I'm saying? This is still very new to me, and I'm still working on getting a lot better. So this is something that I'm trying. I'm trying to follow God's assignment in my life after narcissistic abuse, and this is one of the things that He told me that I needed to do. So I'm on the job. You know what I'm saying? So basically, what ended up happening, like I said, I'm getting back to the point of now my son is here. Now my son is in my life. You know what I'm saying? He is born now, and now we are trying to share custody, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to do this custody thing. But at first, of course, the narcissists, they still want to have control. So at that time, I wasn't chasing her, so she couldn't get me that way. Then she tried to get me back with sex. So she tried to, hey, can we just have sex? Can we just, I mean, I know that we haven't been seeing eye to eye. And I'm like, it ain't that we haven't been seeing eye to eye. It's you got pregnant and just started acting crazy. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I couldn't understand like where she was coming from, but she would like play the little game of, well, I know she would text me and say, hey, I know we haven't seen eye to eye, but can we just have sex? And then you can go back to being mad after you done. And I'm like, what type of games are we playing? Like, we are too grown for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so it got to the point where at the beginning she could play that game because I didn't know what was going on. So if we had a little small disagreement or something like that, she could say, hey, can I just come over and we can have sex and da 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 da, and I would probably fall for it because I didn't realize, okay, this is a game that, you know, I'm thinking this is just somebody I'm dating and we had a little dispute or falling out, and that's her playful little way of trying to make up. That's how I took it at the time. I didn't realize like this was manipulation. I didn't realize that this was all games. So she tried the sex, and once I like towards the end after my son is born now I'm not even succumbing to the sex. I remember one day she was standing in my kitchen and she was standing in front of me, and you know how the girls try to like, you know, put their butt up against you and all of that kind of stuff. So she was standing in front of me and she grabbed my hands and she tried to put my hands on her waist. And as soon as she put my hands on her waist, I just dropped them. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was like a natural instinct for me to just like, man, I don't even want to touch you like that. And she like turned around and looked at me and she was like, damn. Like, and she just looked at me and she was like, you don't fuck with me at all no more, do you? And like she knew, it's like the narcissists, they can tell when you finish with them. They can tell, it's like an innate thing inside of them that they can tell like, okay, this person is like completely withdrawn from me. He is not gonna give me any type of emotion or energy, any of that kind of stuff. It's like she just knew like I was done. And so now it's like when they are not getting the type of supply that they are looking for, and they're not getting a reaction that they're looking for from you, it drives them crazy. So now it's like back to the silent treatment, and it's all of this devaluation going on. Like she is, you know, still sending me text messages talking crazy, like, you know, F you. And, you know, it's kind of like she is purposely letting me know that she's like dating other guys and stuff like that. But at that point, I'm done. So I'm like, man, look, I don't even care. I don't even want to see or hear about it. I don't even want to talk about it, whatever. Now, this is why you also got to block them on social media. And not only them, but you got to block the flying monkeys as well. So after all of these tactics that she was trying to get through to me, she was trying to use sex, she was trying to use like the parental alienation game, not let me see my son for months at a time. She was using the hot and cold treatment, like she would be nice one day and then mean the next, and then send me nasty text one day and then send me a nice text like I miss you or something like that the next day or something like that. It was just like this hot and cold, up and down. This, like I said, it was just like a roller coaster. And when none of that worked, then she brought in those same flying monkeys again, the same flying monkeys that I talked about in part one of this video. And I think I talked about her a little bit in part two. But basically, this flying monkey is like the best friend and has always been the best friend of the narcissist that I was dealing with. And so what they ended up doing was, while the narc was playing parental alienation games with me, she had her best friend, which was the flying monkey. So I wouldn't be able to see my son. The narcissist wouldn't post pictures and things of my son on her page, but the flying monkey would post pictures of my son on her page. And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, the first time I saw it, it's like the flying monkey got like 5 kids by like 2, 3, 4 different baby fathers of her own, and she got a whole mess of a situation over there herself. But what ended up happening was they would like throw a cookout or something like that. She would post pictures of her entire family, and it would be like the flying monkey, her kids, their family, their friends, their this, their that, and then there'd be just like this one random picture in the mix of my son, of my brand new child, like brand new baby. He was only like a month, maybe month and a half, 2 months old, something like that. So they would, like I said, throw a party or something like that, and then they would post a picture of my brand new son, and it was literally like I haven't seen him in over a month, but I have to see my son through Facebook, and I got to see my son through Instagram, and not even on his mother's page, not even on my child's mother's page. I got to look on the flying monkey's page to see what's going on with my son. And so instantly, right then and there, the first time I saw the flying monkey do it, I said, okay, I'm gonna block her. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew I was gonna block her, but at that time I was still kind of trying to gain information. So I didn't want to block her right away. I was trying to, see how everybody was moving and trying to just make sure I was doing the right thing. I didn't want to block her prematurely without really knowing what was going on. And at the time, like I said, I still, at this time, have not learned about narcissism yet, but I see that they childish and petty and immature, and they playing a lot of little games. So I said, okay, I'm gonna block the narcissist, and I'm gonna block the flying monkey as well. But I didn't do it right away. I probably waited another maybe month or so, and I just watched them for like that month. But I knew in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, it's when I feel like the moment is right, I'm gonna block everybody. I'm not gonna say anything. They're like, one day they just gonna wake up and they're gonna be blocked. And so I did it like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, like at a time when I figured they was gonna be asleep. So, and it wasn't like necessarily on purpose that day, but it was just like something came over me that day of where I felt like, okay, I've gained enough information on this situation to know enough about what's going on to where now I can block them, and I don't have to worry about like, damn, did I block them prematurely, and did I miss something that you know what I'm saying? I waited until I saw enough and had enough basically evidence on my side of things to know exactly what was going on. And then I blocked her entire family. Like first I blocked the narcissist. Well, no, I'm sorry. First I blocked the flying monkey. Once I blocked the flying monkey, I knew. So the narcissist at this time, she had me blocked. It's crazy how the games that they play. But the narcissist at the time, she had me blocked on her Facebook and Instagram and all of that. but she had her flying monkey watching my page. So every time I would post anything, and I noticed because every time I would post anything, especially it was like cool when Facebook and Instagram came up with the stories, because when you post into the stories, you can actually see who's viewing your stuff. So every time, and I would purposely do it, I would post something in my stories, and then I would just wait to see who is the first person that's looking at it. And every single time that I would post something, every single time, I don't care what time of day it was. It could be 5 in the morning. It could be 10 o'clock at night. It could be 1 o'clock in the morning. It didn't matter what time of day it was. As soon as I posted something, the flying monkey was the first person in my stories, like, and it had her name, and I would see, and I'm like, here she go again. Like, why they so nosy? You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm just thinking they childish and nosy at this time. So I'm looking at the situation, and I'm like, all right, I'm definitely gonna block her. But like I said, I was just waiting for the right time to do everything. So I knew that once I blocked the flying monkey, then the narcissist was gonna come back. So, and she was gonna come back to social media to see what I had going on. And just like clockwork, so I blocked the flying monkey on like a Friday night. And I guess as soon as she woke up the next morning, she probably ran on the phone and called my baby mother, and was like, listen, he blocked me. You know what I'm saying? I guess later on that day, when once she realized that she was blocked on everything, then the narcissist came and opened up her page again. Basically, she allowed me to be friends with her again, and I figured she was going to do it. So that the next morning after I blocked the flying monkey, I went into the search box and I put her name and I put the narc's name in. And once I put her name in, it showed like, oh, this person is following you again. And as soon as I saw that this person was following me again and her page was live again, I blocked her too. And then I went and blocked her mother, and I blocked all her brothers, and I blocked all of her cousins that I could remember which ones was which at that time. And then some people had like little, some people got like alias pages, and they got business pages and things like that. So it took me a while to narrow everybody down, but I think I'm pretty much got everybody off the list now. But it took me a little while to go through everybody, but I just started subtracting people as I was going. And once I started realizing, oh, this person is affiliated with them, okay, block. Okay, this person is affiliated with them, okay, block. Okay, this person is affiliated, okay, block. And so I just, like, process of elimination, and I just started scaling back everybody. I blocked damn near a city of folks. Like, when I tell you, I grew up with, like I said, I went to elementary school with the narcissists that I was involved with. So we know a lot of the same people. So I ended up having to block damn near a whole city of folks that I grew up with from childhood, because I didn't want first of all, I was trying to save a lot of other people from being involved in some drama and some mess that really wasn't for them. But I also was just looking at it like, all of these people, they don't even know they had no idea of what was actually going on, and she was running and trying to smear my name to all of these people, number one. And then number two, it's like there was a lot of blind supporters that were loyal to her, I guess, being a female and being an attractive female, as opposed to me, and in that situation. And so, and also, she got in front of the story. Like, I wasn't out here telling people, oh, this happened to me and that happened to me and this happened to me, but she was out here lying and smearing my name after she got pregnant, basically because she just couldn't face the fact that now we have a child on the way. So now you're going to have to be a responsible adult. She never wanted to be a responsible adult. She just wanted to keep, she wanted to have a child, keep running the streets, keep jumping from dude to dude to dude, and having her fun and having her cake and eating it too. She thought that I was going to stay in position for that, and I didn't, and I blew her game up. You know what I'm saying? So once the game was blown up there, and she tried to use the flying monkeys to like do little petty stuff on my page, post pictures of my son and all of that kind of stuff. And so once I blocked all of them on social media, then it was like, it was almost like de-weaponizing her. So it was like, okay, she started the fight with nunchucks and a pistol and hand grenades and all of these different weapons. Like she was fully armored, like when we started this fight. And then once I started eliminating her help, I started eliminating her flying monkeys, and I stopped answering her texts, and it's like I was literally snatching this weapon off of her. Like she couldn't use this no more. Okay, now boom, I done chopped the left arm off, so now she can't. Now she only got one arm now. So it's like I was literally snatching her her tools to hurt me. You know what I'm saying? Like the thing, all of the things that she was utilizing to hurt me. Like originally she was utilizing the flying monkeys and she was hiding behind them a lot, and she was also utilizing the flying monkeys to like spy on me and stalk my social media page and all of that kind of stuff. But now, because I started removing all of those people, it's like now she's really in a frenzy because she is completely losing control now. She don't have no control over the situation no more. Like I'm not complying with any of her requests. I'm not scared of none of her family members or scared of her brother or any of that kind of stuff. So when, like I talked about in part one, when she tried to use her brothers to intimidate me, I wasn't going for none of that. So the fact that like that this didn't work, that didn't work, trying to, love bomb me again and get back to the sex, that didn't work. To the hot and cold treatment, that didn't work. To, like I said, implementing the flying monkeys all over the place, that didn't effectively work. Like some of these things worked like in a small fashion, just to kind of like, just enough to make me mad and get me angry and stuff like that. But it never made me lose my cool to the point where I didn't respond logically to her. Even if I was upset, I still responded logically to her, especially once I realized that I was dealing with a fool. Like once you realize you're dealing with somebody that don't have no sense, and you realize not only is it them that don't have no sense, but they have a team of enablers that's allowing this to go down, then it's kind of like you just got to step back and just say, all right, look, I'm going to let y'all be stupid on y'all own, and I'm going to step back and I'm going to let y'all do y'all thing, because it's no point in me arguing back and forth with somebody that, like, you don't even want to see the truth for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So because you don't want to see your own truth, you don't want to see what you're out here doing to these children, you don't want to see, what you're out here doing from man to man to man. And I'm sure it's not just men that you're affecting, because I'm sure you are out here sleeping with married men and all of that kind of stuff as well. You have two little boys that is looking for, some type of a good example as a mother, and is this what you want to show them? Like, and I remember we actually got into a conversation about that one day, and she said something like, well, she said something about, we were talking about raising kids, and she said something like, well, I've learned that you have to be a good example without letting them see everything that you do, or something like that. And she was like, yeah, so it's like, basically it's like, do what I say, not as I do. And that's basically what she was trying to get to the point of, do what I say, not as I do. And I'm looking at her when she said that, and I'm like, listen, no, you got to lead by example with these children. You can't be out here doing this and doing that and doing this, and think that these kids not going to pick up on that and not going to see that it's a problem with that, especially from a, a little boy standpoint. A little boy looks up to his mother as like the queen of his life. And so if you as a little boy, you see your mother has dealt with this dude and now he's out of the picture. So especially, I feel extremely bad for the first child because he had to watch his father. Well, his father, his father was gone out of the picture when he was basically born. So she did the same thing to his father that she did to me. And so he had to deal with his father not being in the picture. And then I come around and she does the same thing to me. And now she sees me out of the picture. And now I'm sure she sees him with whoever else she's gone on with, and probably whoever else she's been with before I even came into the mix. So it's literally like she has a trail of dead relationships, and her son has, at this point, he's only like 13 or 14 years old, but he's witnessed all of this. He's seen every step of the way his mother just jumped from this relationship to this relationship to this relationship to this relationship, and it's always the guy's fault. It's never her fault. She's never done anything wrong in her eyes. So it's like almost like she's trying to create a little narcissist. Like she's trying to create, him to be just like she is. And when I realized that that's what she was doing is when, like I said, none of these things that she tried, like none of these manipulation tactics at this point, because now my son is born and I've woken up and I'm like, I have to do what I have to do for this little boy. Like regardless of what she does, I have to do what I have to do as a father for this little boy. And my focus went straight into my son. And I was literally blocking her out of the situation as much as I possibly could because I saw it was just nonsense and games. It wasn't even no reason for us to really be beefing, except for she just was acting stupid. So once I started realizing like it's no fixing that situation, I can't force her to act right. I can't force her to do anything. And obviously it wasn't anything that I did. Like I never felt guilty at one point after everything was said and done. There was not one moment that I felt guilty about any of the ways that I handled the situation. The one thing that I felt guilty about was being like getting tricked, getting betrayed, and not paying attention to the red flags early on when I saw them. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of us on this channel, we can kind of attest to that. A lot of us saw the red flags from the very beginning, and we didn't take heed to those warnings. And that's what I felt guilty about. I felt guilty that, I was living outside of God's will, and this happened. I allowed this to happen because of the lifestyle that I was living, and didn't even realize I was living, foul or anything like that. I was just looking for a companion. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking that I'm just looking for a companion, a life partner, somebody to share the rest of my life with, and somebody that we're going to be in the same corner and work as a team together and, spend the rest, like the first half of my life was extremely hard. So I have seek nothing but peace for like the second half of my life. So all of this arguing and bickering back and forth and all of that kind of stuff, I did not sign up for that. So once she started trying to play that game with me, and I realized it's coming out of nowhere, and now I'm mature enough to realize like you don't have to engage with every fool. Like every person that tries to pick a fight with you or start a fight with you, like you don't always have to engage with that. Like it's huge. It's a huge amount of strength in being able to just walk away from people sometimes. Like not even give people your energy. Like some people literally do not deserve your energy. And that's one of the things that I had to learn. But I think at this stage in my life, I had learned it. And it was still other lessons that I had to learn, but I think that's one of the lessons that I had already learned because I just wasn't willing to chase her at all. Like, I was hoping for the best in that situation, but once she showed me that she wasn't on the same page as that, then it was just like, okay, well, look, I got to keep on moving, you know what I'm saying? And it's no love lost on my end, but you made it this way. And since you made it this way, then you make your bed, now you got to sleep in it. So that's kind of pretty much where we were. And she kept, like I said, the sex wasn't working, this wasn't working, that wasn't working, this wasn't working, that wasn't working. And she tried all of these different tactics. And I'm sure I'm leaving a few things out, but I don't want to make this video extremely long again, and then it cuts off again, and then I got to start, and do a part 4. And if it does, then I'll just come back and do a part 4 for y'all. But listen, when none of that stuff worked, when none of her manipulation tactics worked, then it was like she waited until something would happen in my life. So this is another reason why y'all have to block them on social media. So, and what I mean is, like, let's say you post on social media that, oh, my grandfather is sick, he's in the hospital, man, y'all pray for me. You not realizing, you just thinking, you asking people on social media to pray for you. The narcissist is looking at that like, oh, it's an opportunity. Okay, let me call him or let me text him. Oh my God, I heard about your granddad. I'm so sorry. Let me know if it's anything I can do. And I'm like, ain't nothing you can do for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't been together. And if there was anything that you could have done for me, it would be about our child. You know what I'm saying? You didn't even know my grandfather. You're like, oh, you don't currently know my grandfather at all. So why would, I expect you to be any type of help in, what he's going through, that kind of thing. So it's like they're looking for vulnerabilities on your social media page. You know what I'm saying? So it's when you post something that you think is just harmless, like prime example, Friday I attended a funeral. Now, if I would have posted on social media that I attended a funeral, then, and if I hadn't had the narcissist blocked or anything like that, then she could have easily used that and tried to use that as a way to play on my emotions. So she would have looked at it and said, oh, you went to a funeral? Oh, hey, I saw that you went to a funeral. Who was that? Oh, that was your aunt? Oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Can I come over tonight? I'll cuddle up with you. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, basically try to use sex or use a moment of weakness. So they trying to catch you in any point of weakness. And if you posting that type of stuff on social media, that's why if y'all can, try your best to not post personal things on social media, especially stuff like that, because you got predators out here that's preying on that type of stuff. They seeing that you're vulnerable, they seeing that you're going through this or that, and they like, okay, this person ain't feeling too hot right now. Let me go over there and see if I can slide up in their bed one more good time and, put this thing on them one more time, and now I got them back on the hook again. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a game of control. And so, like I said, once I started realizing all of the manipulation tactics, and I could see them now, and I could see them before they reached me. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm gating it. I'm like stopping everything before it even, before it comes to me and before it can hurt me. Now I'm like stopping it before it even get close to me. So what ended up happening was she noticed that I was basically establishing boundaries. And that's what they mean about setting up your boundaries. She had lied so much that I wouldn't even allow her in my house because I didn't want her to come in my house and something happened, and then she tried to lie. Like I said, I didn't know if she was at this point she had faked the car accident. That's a whole nother story. I'll tell y'all about that. But she had faked the car accident, and she had faked all of these different emergencies and stuff like that. So now I'm like, afraid to allow her in my house because I don't know if she's gonna come in and throw herself down the steps or bang her head up against the wall or something like that, and then try to say that I did it, and like on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like she was lying so much on that man, and I was trying to avoid that type of thing. So I once I started realizing that something was wrong, I immediately just stopped engaging with her. I did not allow her to come back into my house. I did not allow her, like when we do the drop off for my son, I actually go out and meet her like halfway in my yard because of the fact that, my neighbors have cameras and all of that kind of stuff, and then my neighbors are usually very active in my community and stuff like that. So I make sure that I'm far enough in the yard to where I have witnesses to anything that happens, that kind of thing. So once she started realizing that I was establishing my boundaries and that I wasn't gonna continue to be manipulated, and I wasn't gonna continue to play this game with her, then it was kind of like, okay, I got to do something big. She started like really, really unraveling. She started really unraveling, and she's like, okay, I got to do something real big. I got to do something real big to get him back on the leash, like to get him back under my control. So one day she calls me and she's on FaceTime, and you know what I'm saying? We FaceTime, and she's like, I'm looking at her on the FaceTime. She calls me out of the blue. We not arguing this day. It's no beef. It's a regular, normal day. And my son is about maybe 2 or 3 months old at this time. He was a baby, like a newborn. Maybe 2, possibly 3 months. Um, give or take. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember exactly what month it was when this happened, but basically, my son was very young. My son was extreme, like he was a brand new baby. And she ended up calling me on FaceTime one day, and she like created this big lavish emergency, and she's like, hey, hey. She's waving all in the phone, and she's like, I just got carjacked. So basically she tried to fake a carjacking and said that my son was in the car. And when she told me that my son was in the car, then I'm like, you know, I'm thinking logically though, and I'm like, wait a minute, you said my son was in the car, so you're telling me there was a carjacking, but the kids was in the car, so it's a kidnapping. And once I started catching her in that lie, and once I realized that, okay, this woman is lying, like she is a pathological lie, that's what kicked it in, and I started realizing this woman is a pathological liar. And I started realizing, oh, she's been lying about everything. When she lied about the carjacking, and I'm not gonna go too far into that story because I mentioned it in a few other videos. And if you guys want to know more about that, I can't remember exactly which video it is, but if y'all want to hear that story again, I do not mind doing a separate video on that because it was like literally one of the craziest things that I have ever experienced in my life. And that's what actually woke me up when I, I originally was just thinking, okay, this woman is completely immature. She playing a lot of games, this, that, and the third. But when she did that, I was like, oh no, I'm in danger. Like I need to get as far away from this woman as possible because she's dangerous. And I started realizing like, oh, she's crazy. Like she's insane. Like, anybody that could lie to the opposite parent and tell them that their newborn child was just carjacked and kidnapped and all of that just to, I guess, avoid being found out about cheating or something. I don't even know what it was that she was. Like I said, I believe that she was trying to create an emergency so that I would run over and play Captain Save-A-Ho and just be like, oh my God, and care so much about my newborn child and care so much about her that I would just forget about all of the stuff that she had done in like during the pregnancy. So I think that's what was happening. I think that she ran over to her new supply, got him on the hook, and realized that, okay, this ain't what I thought it was gonna be. This ain't, this ain't cracked up. This ain't everything that I wished for. You know what I'm saying? So now she got him, she got me, and she's starting to realize, okay, obviously it was a mistake. Obviously I shouldn't have done this. So now it was like, okay, I'm gonna create this lavish, this big ass emergency, and I'm gonna get Adrian back on the team, and I'm gonna have him. I'm not gonna apologize about any of the stuff that I did. I'm not gonna take accountability for any of the stuff that I did while he was, while we were at the beginning of the pregnancy and all of that kind of stuff. All I'm going to do is come up with this elaborate lie, and that's going to just wash away my sins. But all it did was dug her hole even deeper, because once I realized that she was lying about that, then I started realizing, oh, you'll lie about anything. And so once I confronted her on that lie, that's when all hell broke loose. Now, if all hell hadn't broke loose already, but basically that's when all hell broke loose, because now I'm like, okay, listen, you've played the last game that you're gonna play with me. I'm done. You can go out here, and I told her, like I said, I told her in the video, listen, you can go out here and chase all the dick that you need to chase. You can chase all the dudes that you need to chase. Go ahead, handle your business. Just make sure that I see my son every single weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, and I said, for right now, because we haven't been to court or anything, I just, like, go do your thing. I don't even care what you out here doing. I just need to see my son every single weekend. And that's the agreement that we put in place. And I had it like that, even though that's extremely hard for me, because I work 5 days a week during the week, and then I'm a single man. I live on my own, so a lot of times I try to catch overtime and things like that to, have a little extra money to just live my life, take my son to do nice things, and have a little bit of fun in my own personal life, that kind of thing. So most of the time I'm working like extremely hard during the week, and then I have a nonprofit organization in the clothing line that I haven't been able to do a lot with, because I have my brand new son, and then I also have, my responsibilities at work and things like that. So all of these things kind of fell on my plate after the discard, and it was like she knew the position that she was leaving me in, and she left me in that position purposefully so that I couldn't move on in life. She wanted me to be stuck. She wanted me to be stuck in a situation where, okay, I know he has this business and he has this going on and he has that going on, because it was striving, it was doing beautifully before COVID and before my son. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that happened, and I'm not saying that, basically she utilized the fact that she knew that having this child was going to push me into a position, especially with me working during the week and then having him on the weekends. I don't have any free time to date anybody else. I don't have any free time to do any, and that's the position that the narcissist is trying to get you in. So, in case y'all didn't understand, like, where they were trying to get you, I'm showing you, like, that's the position. They're trying to get you in a position where you can't really move forward. And if you try to move backwards, then you're going back into them. So it's like you stuck in this situation of like, okay, now what am I going to do in my life? Like, okay, this person has basically single-handedly damn near shut my business down. And I don't think that it's a forever shutdown. I think that it's a season in my life that I had to handle other things, and I'm gonna tell y'all exactly why I feel like that in a whole nother video, because it has to do with the healing process and everything that we go through, after the discard, and finding God and finding your purpose and all of that kind of stuff. So I want to do that in a separate video. But yeah, so she did all of these things to basically keep me stuck, keep me in a situation. And once I started realizing that that's what she was trying to do, I just didn't allow myself to stay stuck, and I wouldn't allow her to have the satisfaction of feeling like I was stuck. You know what I'm saying? So I went no contact and never looked back. You know what I'm saying? As far as it's kind of hard to go no contact when you have a child together because you I went gray rock. Let's just say that I had to pretty much gray rock the situation. I have as much limited contact as possible. Like I don't respond to hardly anything that she sends me, and the only time I do respond is if it's something that I have to respond to because we have responsibilities as a child and that kind of thing. But I don't respond emotionally to any of her games that she's trying to play and all of that kind of stuff. So because I didn't respond to any of her advances, any of her manipulations, any of that kind of stuff, now we're kind of getting into what's going on present day. So present day, this is a year and a half now, going on 2 years after the discard. So now she utilizes every opportunity just to piss me off, just to aggravate me and make me mad because she knows I'm not going to come. So like I said, they will take any type of supply. They will take the good supply or they will take the bad supply. They will take you loving on them and giving them sex and all of that kind of stuff. Like if I really wanted to just have sex with her and all of that kind of stuff, then I'm pretty sure that it's as simple as a phone call and saying, "Hey man, I miss you. Come back over. Let's work this out." Like, but I'm so much more than that. I'm worth so much more than that, and I thought she knew that. And then not only did I think that she knew that, my son is worth more than that. My son deserves better than to have parents like that. You know what I'm saying? And even whether she's going to do the right thing on her end or not, I have to set the example as a man for my son. So that's what I am striving to do. That's what I'm planning to do, and that's what I have been doing up to this point. Is basically putting my own wants and desires and everything on hold to pour into his life and give him the type of life that I didn't have when I was growing up. So once all of those things happened and she couldn't like really manipulate me in the way that she wanted to, then it started becoming like now she tries to play with the days of like she'll call me or she'll text me on a Friday when I'm supposed to get my son and say, "Oh, hey, he has a cold. He's not coming over. I'm not bringing him." Or she'll text me. I think I've showed you guys some of the texts that she sent me. But she sends me texts now, and it's like, "Oh, I have something to do, and AJ will not be coming over this weekend." And I'm like, "How are you just going, like, what if I had plans with him? What if I had this going on? Like, you don't, so it's like you feel like you can breach our parental agreement at any time that you want to because you feel like you're still in control of whatever." So it's like now, because she can't control me any other way, now she tries to utilize my child to control what's going on and try to control the narrative and try to control like whether try to control the amount of time that I spend with my son and all of that kind of stuff. So that's one of the things that she does after the after the discard happened and after I didn't succumb to all of the other manipulations. So the other thing that she does is at the very beginning when when we started the no contact thing, she would utilize my son like she would. I had a brand new son. This is a brand new baby boy. He was only 3, 4, maybe 5 months old. She would take my son to the new supplies house, and you can tell that it was it was, you can tell it's kind of like a bachelor pad because it's all like masculine furniture, all of that kind of stuff. So you can just kind of come up with the synopsis, or you'll come up with the idea that, okay, obviously that this is a guy's house. So she would take my son, my brand new son, to another guy's house and then take pictures of him in his living room. And you can tell, like I said, it's a masculine living room. It's like masculine rug on the floor, masculine curtains. You can tell a woman, it don't have no woman's touch in this house at all. it's nice, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't have a woman's touch. It's like my house is now. I live alone, and I've been living alone, like, a bachelor, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, um, I don't necessarily have that womanly touch. It's kind of like man cavey all around my house because I've been on my own for a nice little minute now. So because of that, especially after dealing with the narcissist, I just didn't want to rush back into anything and end up with another narc or any of that kind of stuff. So I said I was going to give myself this time to heal, move past not just the narcissistic relationship, but just a lot of the things that happened in my childhood, some of the things that happened with my dad's situation and after his death. And like all of these things hit me all at once. My father's death, the narcissist just losing her mind and starting to trip, my son being born, all of these challenges and things at work. It's like all of the stuff, like I was literally being attacked from every different angle all at once. And that's one of the reasons why I started the channel, just to give y'all some hope and strength, because I know what y'all are going through. And if I can get on here and get to the point that I'm okay enough to share my story with y'all, even though I'm not out of the situation, I'm not over everything. I'm still dealing with stuff now. Like I said, present day right now, if the narcissist wants to get up under my skin or try to make me mad or anything, like at this point, she can't get up under my skin in these type of ways. But imagine you have a child with somebody, and then they run off and they're dealing with somebody else, and now they're trying to make you jealous. So one of the ways that she tries to make me jealous is she'll pull up and try to drop my son off in the new supplies car. You know what I'm saying? Like, so imagine you having a brand new child, and now your child's mother is dating some other guy, and now she's pulling up and trying to bring your son and drop him off in this other guy's car, just to get a rise out of you, just to make you mad, just so you are like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you'll lose your mind and do something stupid. And then once you do something stupid, then it's like, see, I told y'all he was crazy, or see, I told y'all he did this or did that. So it's like they are constantly, regardless of what stage you're in after the discard, if you have the ability to go no contact, you absolutely have to do that, because the narcissist never stops poking at you and 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 poking at you. It's like literally, what's that? Like, I think they said it's like the Chinese water technique, where it's like the somebody dripping water on you. You know what I'm saying? Like um, if enough drops of water hit a rock, it'll penetrate the rock eventually. That type of thing. It's like they are just going to keep pushing your buttons, until they get some type of rise out of you. And then once they get that rise out of you, then they feel like, okay, if I can control your emotions, then I can control you. If I can make you mad, then I can control you. If I can make you happy, then I can control you. So they're trying to get any type of emotion and evoke any type of emotion, good or bad, to stay in control of the situation. And so those are the type of things that it's like you have to be extremely strong when you're detaching from the narcissist, because especially if you have children with them, or you just in a situation like you have obligations with them and you just cannot go no contact, because like I said, they're just gonna keep poking the bear. They're gonna keep just poking at the bear, poking at the bear, poking at the bear, poking at the bear. And then once the bear reacts, then it's like, oh, see, they attacking me, they did this to me. And it's like literally childish. It's literally trying to get in front of their story for everybody else that's involved. And half of these people don't even care what the narcissist got going on, let alone It's not like they don't know that the narcissist has been doing this type of stuff all their lives, and that they're toxic people. It's just most of them are toxic as well, and they enable the situation. They enable it to happen. So I just wanted to drop that on y'all. I might come back with a part 4 to this if I can think of anything else that I left out. But I just wanted to give y'all some like real life examples of how the narcissist continues to play with you after the discard. And this is why you have to like literally get out of that situation, stay out of it, don't return, don't go back, don't look back, don't even try to see what they got going on on their social media, because it's all a show. They are literally trying to do anything to get some type of reaction out of you so they can stay in control of the situation. It ain't love. It's not about y'all being together. It's not about fixing the situation. It's not about none of that. It's about them being in control. So that's my video, y'all. I appreciate each and every last one of y'all for continuing to rock with the channel. And if you guys are new here and you made it all the way to the end of this video, man, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share it with somebody, and come join the Facebook group. You know, holler at me in the Facebook group. If y'all are on Facebook, I would love to see y'all in the group. And like I said, that's my video. I will talk to y'all soon. Love y'all, and I'll see y'all in a minute.